Welcome to Energy, Tarot Tea Astrology, and all things metaphysical. Hi, I'm Leslie, the Metaphysical Crone. And let's take a deep dive into the full moon in Scorpio and the lunar eclipse, because that is coming up very, very soon. We're going to look at what it means for you, and we're also going to look at what crystals and what essential oils can support you during this time. So let's begin. And here you're looking at some crystals that are going to represent the planets and their relationship to each other when we talk about this full moon in Scorpio. Now that's going to occur at 2:15 p.m. Monday the 16th of May, and that's Australian Eastern Standard Time. Remember, the timing for the exact moment of the full moon will be different depending on where in the world you live. Now, a full moon, what does it mean? Essentially, when the moon is full, it means that it is shining its most amount of light. It is at its peak. And when we have a full moon, the moon is directly opposite the sun. So we have this crystal representing the moon, the full moon, and then we have a sunstone to represent the sun. So they're opposite each other in the sky. And here we are on Earth in the middle, based on astrology. Now the energies are super intense with this particular full moon, because as well as a full moon, we also have a lunar eclipse. Now this is where the Earth gets in the way, so to speak. The Earth casts a shadow so that the light from the sun cannot be reflected from the moon. And so that is why we have that lunar eclipse. So that also intensifies the already very strong energies of full moon in Scorpio. Now, why do I say this? Well, the moon is not happy in the sign of Scorpio. The technical term is that it is in fall. It means that it's not comfortable in the fixed, deep, dark waters of Scorpio. So that makes this energy of full moon in Scorpio very intense. It can be about bringing up old stuff that hasn't been resolved, particularly when it comes to other people's stuff, when it comes to deep hidden emotions. And being super intense with the lunar eclipse, because eclipses are about change and disruption. And so we've got kind of a double whammy with this. So this is going to be a difficult journey if you are being driven to look at your shadow side, to look at what hasn't been working for you. The good news, however, is that we have Mars, which is here. Mars is trine the moon. That means it's in harmony with the moon. It's advantageous for the moon. And so that's going to be helpful in terms of you facing the shadow side, facing the dark side, because the energy of Mars is warrior-like. It's going to bring that intensity and energy of standing up, being brave, and facing it head on. We also have Jupiter, and that is also trine the moon. Now, Jupiter is the planet of good fortune and expansion. And so what this is saying is that if you do look at your shadow side, what jealousies you may have, deep emotional fears, issues from the past that are affecting you emotionally, if you are brave and stand up for it head on, you can come out the other side in a much better position. The other thing that's happening at the moment is we have Saturn, which is represented by this dragon crystal here, and that is squaring the moon. So that means the energy of Saturn is challenging this moon in Scorpio. So that is going to bring a lot more restriction. It's going to make this journey deep into the hidden aspects of self more challenging and more difficult. And then when we combine that with Mercury, the planet of communication, which is currently retrograde, it means it's going to be some difficult, deep conversations, whether it be with yourself or with others. So the energy of this full moon in Scorpio with the lunar eclipse is very intense. It's very confronting, but know that you have the courage to face it head on and know that you will come out the other side feeling a lot better. Now, how can you support yourself during this intense full moon energy? One way is with essential oils, and another way is with crystals. So let me just switch over and we will have a look at some crystals and essential oils to support you. So here are the crystals that I've chosen for this full moon in Scorpio with its lunar eclipse and its very intense deep dive energy. So let's begin with a stone to represent the moon, and of course the obvious one is moonstone. Now I've chosen a rainbow moonstone because we want to bring a little bit of that rainbow energy, a little bit of light and joy into this very intense time. So this is a beautiful rainbow moonstone to represent the moon, and this is going to help us connect with our intuition from a more optimistic, positive viewpoint. The other crystal I've also chosen is selenite. Selenite is a high vibration crystal. It's got a wonderful energy. It's good for spiritual connection and healing as well. And then I've chosen two stones to represent the sign of Scorpio. I've chosen black obsidian, and this is my black obsidian athame. And the reason I've chosen this is because this is about a dive into our shadow side during this full moon energy. And obsidian, as well as being a protective energy, it is also good for reflection when we're looking at our shadow side. It will bring to the surface more easily what it is that we're looking to face and deal with. Then the other one I've also chosen for the sign of Scorpio is labradorite, the stone of magic. And Scorpio energy is quite a magical energy. It's very much into spirituality, the occult in its most positive sense. And so labradorite for me feels like a good stone for magic to use during this full moon. And the final stone that I've chosen is fluorite. Fluorite is going to bring a bit of sense of order, because when we dive deep into our emotions, into our shadow side, we can feel overwhelmed. And so having something that brings in a bit of order, a bit of a logical approach can be really helpful. And we can use all of these stones for healing. In the center here, I have my poppet. And if I'm doing this for myself, a crystal grid for myself, that represents myself as a significator, or the person that I'm doing the crystal grid for, and that will be placed in the center. Now let's have a look at some essential oils and see what would be supportive for you during this full moon in Scorpio with the lunar eclipse, and then we can bring it all together into how you can combine it. So here are the three oils that I've chosen for this full moon in Scorpio. For the moon energy, I've chosen lemon essential oil, which is also helpful for focus and clarity. And when we're diving deep into our emotions, things that maybe we've been repressing for a long time and they're coming to the surface and we're facing them, even though we're facing them with courage, we want to have focus and clarity. And so lemon is a very clearing, cleansing oil as well. The other oil I've chosen is cedarwood. So cedarwood is to help us stay grounded. It also gives us a strong spiritual connection as well. So we've got focus and clarity, the energy of this full moon. We've got cedarwood for spiritual connection and grounding. And then because this can be a highly, intensely emotional time, I've chosen rose geranium. Now, rose geranium is a beautiful soft oil. It is an oil for the heart. Geranium is also an oil for balance, finding that balance between the shadow side and your light side. And so this is going to be soothing to the heart as you go through this deep dive into your shadow self. So let's make a blend with them. I'm going to start off with the lemon. Now remember, when it comes to essential oils, less is more. So I'm going to pop 3 drops of lemon oil in. 1, 2, 3. And then to that, I'm going to add 2 drops of cedarwood. Go. And then we're going to add the rose geranium for the heart, for that balance, that emotional balance, to bring it back into the balance after doing this shadow work for this full moon in Scorpio. And let's see if it's, here we go, 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 drops of lemon, 2 drops of cedarwood. And then I'm just going to swish the bowl around a little bit just to mix it. And we're just going to have a little whiff. That's lovely. So that's the essential oil blend that you can use for this full moon in Scorpio. So let's put all of this together. Let's create a healing grid that can be used to support you as you look at your shadow side, you dive deep into those emotions, and combine that with the essential oils to help you through this process. And so here is the crystal grid that I've created for this full moon in Scorpio to help you face your shadow side, to look at any old emotions, any old grudges, anything emotionally that hasn't been resolved that might come up for you during this time. And I've used the crystals that I just spoke about in a grid form. So we've got the healing selenite, spiritual connection energy coming down through the moon. We have the labradorite in the middle with the representation of you lying over the labradorite. And the reason I've done that is it's about you bringing in your magical self for this process. And then we're using the black obsidian for reflection and grounding. And then on either side, we have the fluorites. I've got a purple fluorite and a green fluorite. The green fluorite for healing, the purple fluorite for that spiritual connection, but also bringing that sense of order and logic in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge the grid. And if you would like to just take a couple of slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to connect. Imagine yourself lying on top of a huge slab of labradorite, and you're bringing in your own magical energy, bringing it to the surface. And then you bring that energy down into the black obsidian, grounding you into Mother Earth, bringing you support. And we draw the energy from Mother Earth back into your own being with your own magic. And then we go up to the center of the universe. And here we have the selenite, the healing spiritual selenite, this high vibration, and we connect to that energy. And we draw it down through this moon in Scorpio into our being so that we're connected with the moon energy from the most positive aspect. And then we go out to the fluorite on the side and the fluorite on the other side, bringing us some balance between the earth and the universe, bringing a meeting place in the earth within ourselves so that we may confidently and courageously face any of the shadow work that we choose to do with this full moon in Scorpio and lunar eclipse. And just taking some time just to draw in the energy of this crystal healing grid. And as you draw in the energy, we're just going to anoint each crystal with our essential oil blend. Of course, you can also burn this essential oil blend in an oil burner if you make it up for yourself. And breathe in the healing, balancing energies of the essential oil. May this deep dive into the intense energies of the full moon in Scorpio bring you healing and help move forward in your life.